This is the most messed up thing my mother gave me. I was given these boxes years ago, told they were mine, but now I'm finally going through them and spoiler alert, they're not all mine. When I was close to 26, my mother said that I had a month to get out of her house. And I do not think that I said I wasn't going to get out, but she's a narcissist. So I'm the scapegoat and my sister is a golden child and my mother just hates me for whatever reason. I've asked her several times, why does she hate me? She's like, oh, Ilona, I don't hate you. I love you. Then why would you treat me like this? So a month to my birthday, when I was turning 26, my mother's like, you have 1 month to get out of my house. And she would threaten me. She said, if I don't get out, she's going to call the police on me and have me removed. If I don't leave, she's going to wait till I go to work, take my 2 dogs at the time to the pound. Why threaten me? I had severe depression, anxiety, and some other mental health issues, and she thought the best way to control me was to threaten me, which is just so crazy to me. But the day that I was moving out, my friends were helping me move, and my mother pulled me aside, and she told me that whatever I leave behind, she's going to throw away. And at the time, I'm just like, okay, there's nothing I can do about that, right? We spent probably an extra 30 to 60 minutes going through boxes, not thinking, oh, what about my childhood things? We weren't thinking about stuff like that. We were just going through boxes. We couldn't find anything else, and so we left. Maybe some years later, I can't even remember however long later, I reached out to her because I was no contact with her. And I said that I wanted my birth certificate because I didn't want to go through the whole thing of contacting the hospital and going that route to get it. And so she said she'd give it to me. She also said she had some boxes for me. So I went to her place with a friend at the time, and she gave me those 4 boxes. And I didn't really look through any of them at the time. I think I waited some years. I opened the bigger one, the teal one, and I just looked and saw my high school artwork. That's all I really cared about at the time. And now that I'm finally going through things, I see that my mother gave me the ashes of my sister's dog that died 19 years ago. Now, this is my sister's dog. Why am I getting the ashes? It's honestly just so frustrating to deal with this. So yesterday, I made my last vlog, and I was just going through things, not even knowing what I would expect. I was not expecting to see the ashes whatsoever. I thought that had been taken care of. But now that I remember, when I lived with my mother and my sister was there, the ashes were just put in a closet and left there. Again, this dog died 19 years ago. So I was 12 when we got the dog, 14 when the dog had passed. It had some issues, couldn't keep food down. He was humanely put down. I don't know who decided to get the ashes, but it was my sister's dog, so she got the ashes, and then obviously never did anything with them. Personally, I find it weird, disgusting, gross, and just creepy to have ashes in your home. Just my opinion, I would never do that. I had my 2 dogs, they passed away. I didn't want their ashes. I don't want that anywhere near me. So had I known that the ashes were in that box, I would have opened it years ago to take it out and scatter his ashes or spread his ashes, because that's what's respectful, right? My process for sorting everything, I was originally thinking that I'm just going to take the dog's ashes and spread them at a park or whatnot. My stuff, I'm gonna hold back and take pictures of that because I want to digitalize everything. For everything else, I was just going to throw away. But the more I go through that, I'm just like, oh, there's some stuff here that should be shredded. I hate shredding things. I honestly do. So instead, what I'm going to do is I am going to put everything in different piles. So my stuff is in one pile, so I can take pictures of it. Keep the dog's ashes. I'm going to spread them later on when it gets warmer out. For my mom and sister's stuff, I'm just going to put all of their stuff in a box, and then I'm going to have it shipped to them, right? yes, I am the owner of the stuff. I can do whatever I want with it. I don't want to shred it, so I'm just gonna ship it to them, and it can be their problem and they can deal with it. I know that my mother did this to me on purpose. She wants me to reach out to her and be like, hey mom, looks like I have a bunch of your stuff. What do you want me to do with it? To give her an opening to talk to me, because I haven't talked to her in many, many years. I used to threaten to go no contact with her before I was 18. And then when I was 26, I moved out. At that point, I went no contact. I don't remember how she figured out where I lived, but she would send me $150 checks. Now, at this time, I was making minimum wage. I was surviving, barely surviving. I had 2 dogs. Dog food is expensive. Never had to buy my own food before like that. Food is expensive. Didn't know much about nutrition, so, there goes that, right? And for her to send me checks once a month or once every other month, however often she did it, where she was sending me $150, knowing that I needed it at the time. I was actually working 2 jobs, working 40 hours a week at one job, Monday to Friday. And then I was working, I think, every Saturday, and then I went down to every other Saturday just so I could get some extra money on the side. So she knew I needed the money. I think she sent it to me 1 or 2 times, and then at the time I was seeing a therapist. I think I was seeing a therapist every week. That was during the time that I was seeing a therapist every week for 2 years. That last year when I moved out, because the year after that I made too much money and I got kicked off of government health insurance. But I basically reached out to her and I told her, hey, I can't keep taking this money. If you keep sending it to me, I'm going to have to shred it. And then I went no contact with her again. I don't know how many times I reached out to her after that. There was another time, because of no contact with her, that my sister would try to infiltrate me to get me to reach out to my mother. And it worked once. And I did reach out to her and I'm like, hey, maybe we could meet up at a coffee shop and talk. My whole thing was, I told her if she gets therapy, we can have a relationship, right? And I was hoping she got therapy so we could try to have a relationship. And I talked to her. She wasn't getting therapy. She wanted to try a new relationship. Let's just forget about everything that happened in the past and start a whole new relationship. And at that point, I'm just like, this woman is not taking accountability for her actions, for everything she's done to me. So no, she was physically, verbally, and emotionally abusive. I'm just like, no, I can't do that. And at that point, I'm just like, I'm done. I can't keep putting out a hand for this person to see, will they change in a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or 5 years? This woman is never going to change. So I just went no contact again. I told my sister, please don't bring mom up. I'm not interested in a relationship with her. And again, every once in a while, my sister would creep back in. Oh yeah, mom would love a relationship with you. It got so bad at one point that the last time, so was it 2022? My sister promised she would never bring my mom up to me again. And then 2023, she brought her up. She didn't necessarily bring her up. It was her boyfriend. I was on a FaceTime call with my sister and her boyfriend, for some crazy reason, tells me that I am not trying hard enough to have a relationship with my mother. And I'm thinking, I'm not trying hard at all. I really hate having to feel like I have to explain the abuse that I went through as a child and as an adult because of my mother, because people just, for some reason, don't care about my feelings. There's a lot of people out there that have let their abusive parents back into their life, and because they did it, they think everybody else should do it too. And I'm just like, no, I have boundaries. I'm not going to do that. And it was just felt like an argument. I was very calm throughout the whole thing. I've been accused of getting riled up for my past self of when I had symptoms of depression, anxiety, and autism, and I didn't want to deal with being judged like that. So I stayed very calm and I just tried to explain my point of view. They weren't having it. They tried to guilt manipulate me into feeling bad. Their stance was, well, we went and traveled with your mom, and she's just very upset that you won't talk to her and she doesn't know why you don't like her. And I was explaining to them, that's not it at all. I have gone through a lot of abuse from her. I've asked that, the only reason I wouldn't talk to her is because she wouldn't get therapy. That was the only thing preventing us from having a relationship, that she refused to get therapy to deal with why she was so abusive to me. I also want to say we tried therapy when I was younger, when I was an adult, and the therapist just completely took her view on everything. The therapist stance was, well, she's the parent, you're the child, you have to do whatever she says. So I wouldn't even trust doing therapy with her. And at this point in my life, I feel like I'm at a pretty good point in my life. I have not gotten therapy for maybe like 1 or 2 years now. I just think there's a point in time where I have to work on things myself and not just run to a therapist. And I feel like I'm doing pretty freaking well. If I let her back into my life, I would have to get therapy again, and I refuse to. So yeah, I went no contact with my sister temporarily. It was supposed to be for 6 months to a year. I knew the whole time that if I go no contact, it's gonna turn permanent because I'm gonna like it so much. Just my sister causes me a lot of stress. So after over a year, I think at that time I also had to go no contact. I also let go of a friendship that I had for 8 years, which was very hard for me. And then going temporary no contact with my sister, I'm like, I'm gonna feel so much better after I do this. So I did, and I felt better. And I knew after the first month, I'm like, I do not want this person in my life because she is not a healthy person. I've been in therapy for many, many years. I have been accused of many, many things. I have always been accused of being the problem. My sister doesn't get therapy to work on her issues. My mother doesn't get therapy to work on her issues. I mean, they've gotten therapy in the past, but they like to blame me and say that I'm the problem. Ilana, that's how my mother would say my name. Ilana, you need to go and get therapy and work on this. Ilana, you need to work on that too. And it's like when I try to talk to her and be like, hey, can you work on this? She's like, I'm the parent, you're the child, you don't talk to me like that, you're being disrespectful. And her parents abused, or not her parents, her mother abused her. So I guess it's like generational trauma that she feels like she has to push on me. But I'm like, I can't do this anymore. My mother uses my sister and her boyfriend as her flying monkeys, and I just can't do it anymore. So I'm not reaching out to either of them, but I will ship them their stuff, or at least that is the plan.